Greetings, everyone. And welcome to an altogether ooky episode of Monster Party.
Monster Party! It's creepy and kooky.
It is.
It's mysterious and spooky.
That's right.
That's right.
We might already be tipping what the topic of this episode is. We're very subtle, like a sledgehammer.
Well, I'm excited, Matt. It's a big topic. It's a big show.
Yes, and we should formally introduce ourselves. I'm Matt Weinhold.
I'm Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry Stroth.
And I'm James GONIS.
And our topic, if you haven't guessed it already...
What is our topic?
The topic is the Addams Family.
The Addams Family! Creepy, kooky, mysterious, and spooky. I love it.
It's all those things.
Yes.
And yet more.
Oh, so much more. So much more.
Now, you might think to yourself, oh, an Addams Family episode. How wonderful and entertaining. But what possible perfect guest could you get? Oh. Answer that question, Larry Stroth.
Let me tell you, Matt, I am so excited. I am so thrilled, and I am so honored because with us tonight to talk about the Addams Family, we have a TV icon, TV royalty.
I'll say.
We have the original Wednesday Addams, Lisa Loring!
Hello, everybody.
Oh, Lisa, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah,
It's my
man.
pleasure.
Thank you for gracing our studio.
Yes, really.
Yeah.
The Addams Family.
The Addams Family. Now, I hear you have some connection to it.
Oh, just a little one.
Okay.
She played Wednesday Addams.
Yeah.
The
Yes.
original Wednesday Addams.
And in my
Absolutely.
opinion, the definitive Wednesday.
Oh.
Well, thank you. The original, and I feel quite privileged to have been a part of this show. It has a life of its own. It's a multi-generational. It just keeps going.
It really
Yeah,
has.
yeah.
And you,
In so many formats, too.
right. And I think you were like 5.5, 6 years old when you started.
I got the part when I was 5.5. Did the pilot when I was 5.5.
Oh my gosh.
And 6 till 8.5.
Wow.
Now,
They did a lot more episodes.
right.
You know.
Now, had
per
you
season.
done a lot of other TV shows before getting that part on the Addams Family? Like, did
Well,
you...
my mother put me into the business, and
Oh, your
I
mother
started
did it,
modeling at 3. Because she had a friend of hers who was a commercial photographer named Tom Kelly, and what he was most famous for is the iconic nude of Marilyn Monroe on the calendar,
yeah.
the red velvet.
Right.
Yeah. So I was doing, at 3 and 4, airline, travel ads, print work, Purina Cat Show, so forth and so on. And he said to my mother when I was like 5.5, he said, Judy, he said, she's so well behaved, takes direction well, and is so photogenic. Would you like me to help you get her a theatrical agent? And my mother was studying and doing Pasadena Playhouse and stuff. And she said, sure. I got the agent. The first thing I was sent out on was the Addams Family, and I got it.
Wow.
See,
And-
that's not my record in show business whatsoever.
Well, it was very funny because the producer, David Levy, recalled to me when I was grown up why they picked me. He said he was not prepared to see. I didn't know how to read yet. So I learned to memorize before I could read.
Oh my God.
And he said, I wasn't prepared for that. But he said, you were so adorable. He said, your hair was down, long hair.
Yeah.
You had little white gloves on and a black patent leather bag, and you were so charming. He said, the first thing he asked me to do was pout, Wednesday pout.
right.
And I did it. He said, all right. He took aside, which is a scene from a script.
Right.
And he said, this is me, this is you. They read the characters' names and the dialogue. And he was going to go through it a couple of times. And he said, I came a second time, came back with the lines verbatim.
Really?
Don't know how that happened, And I learned to memorize before I could read.
Wow. That's incredible.
So were they
Then
maybe...
I did a screen test, me and 4 other girls.
Okay.
And it was
Ooh.
John Aston and David Levy who picked me.
Really?
Yeah, because they just adored me. And I looked like Carolyn Jones, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you
Do you remember the other girls?
No, I don't.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say what.
There's a lot of things I don't remember.
Now, in the pilot, like the very first Addams character you meet is Wednesday.
That's right. You come to the door.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah.
I have to
Trust
see
me.
it again.
First one. Yeah.
And the pilot was actually directed by Arthur Hiller, who ended up directing
That's-
Love Story.
That's right.
And The In-Laws.
Yeah, absolutely
And
correct. That
Addams
I do
Family
know.
is kind of a love story.
It was the first time you saw on television a husband and wife being passionate and affectionate to each
Yes.
other.
I always got the
The way he
impression.
kissed
yeah.
her arm and
Yeah.
everything?
I always got the impression that it was a very active sex life between Gomez and Morticia.
That's what I like to
Yeah,
think.
and that's really literally the first on television that they showed something like that.
Yeah,
because,
right.
you know, it was in the
Passion.
60s,
You know,
and the
right.
censors were really
I
tough.
wonder
you
if they
know?
just maybe were a little lax in it because they were kind of more outlandish
It was a fantasy
characters,
world
you know,
kind of.
like,
Right,
you know, like
right.
maybe-
It seemed more innocent because
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
comical and theatrical, you
Right.
know.
But unlike Mike and Carol Brady, you knew that Gomez and Morticia did not sleep in separate beds.
yeah,
Right.
In one coffin. Tight fit, but worth it, I say.
Okay, now this is really interesting, but you know, the TV show wasn't the first thing of the Addams Family. The Addams Family was actually created much longer
By Charles Addams, the cartoons, and it was in the New Yorker magazine.
And this is what people
1930s.
I don't think is really necessarily common knowledge for people who, an Addams Family. Well, it was a cartoon, like
Yeah.
pictures, drawings.
Comic
Absolutely.
panel,
He
right.
did the Addams Family and other things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he'd come to the set. I met him many times.
Really?
Really?
He loved me. And at Christmas time and whatnot, he'd do a sketch for all of us.
Really?
And then one of my birthdays, he drew Wednesday and said to Lisa, with enthusiasm and affection for a memorable Wednesday.
Do you still have this?
Yes.
Man. So he was pretty active in the show, at least. I mean, did he approved of the show? Like he was happy with the
yeah,
show?
he worked. Yeah, and the one thing that I didn't know, I was doing one of these celebrity autograph shows with John Aston when he was doing them, because I stayed close to everybody, and we were doing a Q&A panel, and they asked me. I don't know why they wouldn't have asked John first. What do you think the difference is between the Addams Family and the Munsters? And I said, well, the Munsters was more slapstickish, like the Three Stooges.
Right.
Then I said,
Right.
the Addams Family had more witty, intelligent humor, like the Marx Brothers. John stopped
Really?
and said, who told you that? I said, nobody. How did you know that? I don't know. It occurred to me, and that's what I felt. I didn't know that another one of our executive producers and head writer was Nat Perrin, who came to Hollywood to write for the Marx Brothers. No. So John couldn't believe. Who told you that? How did you know that? I said, I just figured it out. He goes, I can't believe that. He was like stunned.
And that is true. Like, I mean, I like the Munsters too, but it's a very different kind of show.
Very
You
different.
know.
Same type of theme, of course. And they
Kind
were
of.
shown at the same time, but the Addams Family had that sharp, witty, it was for
was-
kids,
yeah,
and then
and
they had
adults.
stuff that
Yeah.
the kids wouldn't pick up on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and Charles Addams, his humor, it was so offbeat and off kilter in the New Yorker magazine.
Absolutely.
He was really the precursor to The Far Side. What Gary Larson ended up doing was these sort of surreal single panel cartoons. And a lot of the non-Addams cartoons that he did were just as brilliant as the Addams.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And besides doing the New Yorker, he's got several books. He became quite famous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the whole kind of goth scene and the whole kind of like goth look and everything, that off kilter macabre kind of twist on stuff, kind of started with him, I think.
Sure.
I mean,
how many
Well,
times do you go to Monster Palooza and see somebody dressed like Wednesday Addams?
Oh, God!
yeah,
Do you know
such
how many times people come up to me with their daughter or granddaughter dressed as Wednesday, and then there's other times they come up to me and say, I'd like you to meet my daughter. Her name is Wednesday. That
awesome.
floored me the first time. Yeah.
If
If I had a son, I'd name him Lurch.
I think I had read, if this is true, that the characters of the Addams Family weren't actually named until the TV show. When they were
I think that's true.
Is that right?
When they were
Really?
the panels that,
Yeah.
that Charles Adams drew, they didn't have
No,
names.
no names.
So Gomez,
Yeah.
Morticia, Lurch, they
I
were named
believe
for the
that is
show,
correct,
which is really
right.
interesting. Also, I had read that, the New Yorker magazine was this kind of sophisticated, magazine, and when the Addams Family became a TV show, the editor of the magazine stopped printing Addams Family panels because he didn't want the magazine to be associated with something on television.
That's weird. That I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
But then
you
he,
have
like,
to remember how young I was when I did
yeah,
this.
yeah.
You know?
So that's why I had read that. But then he passed away, and they started printing him again.
And speaking of like the goth thing, another thing at these celebrity collector memorabilia, the horror shows, the Comic Cons, whatever. Oh God, it was 5-6 years ago now. I had this group of teenage girls come up to me, like 15 to 16, 17. It was like 5 or 6 of them, and they were all gothed out. Oh, we wanted to meet you so much. Do you know you're the original goth girl? I had never even thought of that because I'm like lace and pearls usually. You know what I mean? Really? Yeah, it was so surreal, the whole thing for me, you know, because it was so long ago. It seems like another lifetime ago. So.
Well, the Addams Family is really the first general, like, pop culture representation of an alternative lifestyle. Unapologetic. Which now is celebrated, but you know,
before the
and the
Flintstones,
family
before,
loved each other so much. In TV Guide, there was an interview they did with some huge, well-known psychiatrist, and he said the Addams Family was the healthiest show on television, you know, because the family loved each other, even though they had weird and kooky and different, you know, but they were a solid family unit.
Yeah. They clearly loved each other, and that house. Who didn't want to live in that house?
I wanted to live in that house. I really did. As a matter of fact, just offer a little confession here. You know, the first time I saw the Addams Family, there was a very special particular episode that I saw. It was the first one that I saw, and I instantly fell in love with you. And as a kid, at age 6, I said, I want to marry that girl. And
I get a lot of that. You'd be surprised.
It was the episode where.
Way to make it weird.
No, well, come on now, come on. We're having cocktails. We're all letting our hair down a little bit and got a little loose.
What little I have left. Go ahead.
Okay, but it's like you did an episode where you had asked about how do you get a guy or something, and the whole family, each person has to give you advice as to how to get a boy.
If it's the one I'm thinking of, there was neighbors that moved in next door, and I had a crush.
Yeah.
And that was my favorite. Do you know why?
No, why?
Because they let my braids out and made me a mini mortician.
That's right. That's right.
And I had to wear the same costume all the time. And I was very close to Carolyn Jones. And they had us next to each other with my hair down, hers, both in the morticia dress.
That's
it was
awesome.
That's one of my very favorites.
But what I love about it is, yes, you have first of all, your hair is really long. And so that was your hair. Okay. And they put you in the morticia outfit. And if people remember.
And the braids, it was no more braids.
If people remember the way Morticia walked, she had a very peculiar little walk because it was like little steps.
Do you know why?
She didn't have legs, right?
It was so tight, the dress. They actually had to help her walk to the set from her dressing room. She could only take those little steps because it was so tight around, you know.
Did she ever have like any accents or fall? Or like, I mean, it seemed like it was so constricting.
I don't know if she did. I wasn't around for it.
Right.
But it was difficult for her.
I always wondered as a kid, though, when I saw that, because the bottom of her dress, they looked like tentacles.
Like an
So
octopus.
I always wondered, since it was this fantastic show, whether she actually did have tentacles.
Maybe, right. That could be.
But what was really touching to me is, so not only did you look really cute, and I thought, oh, this is a girl that likes spooky stuff. Like, you know, I like spooky stuff. Boy, she'd be great. But each one of the family members tells you, well, this is what you need to do to get a boy. Like, you know, your dad says, oh, you need to learn to dance, you know.
Well, it was sort of the same episode when we all try to teach Lurch how to dance.
Yes.
Because he likes this woman. And
yes.
You know, I've got that. I think they call it the Wednesday Watusi or something.
Yes.
And I'm telling him, they put all kinds of music to it too now, but the original one, I'm telling him, you got to be hip, you got to be cool. You don't want to be a square now, do you? And I try to teach him how to do that. And when I first saw it, a friend just showed it to me half a year ago or so. Couldn't believe that's another surreal thing, how many hits it had.
Oh.
And I just went, I don't know how to dance like that. Who taught me how to dance like that?
Well, it's funny. You're talking. There's a very specific on YouTube. It's like if you type in Wednesday Addams dancing, that thing comes up. And when I saw you move for the first time, it's true. I tried to do it. I go, how did she do that? How did you do that?
People have asked me, will you do that for us? I said, I don't remember how. I can't dance like that. Like I said, who taught me how to dance like that?
Oh,
Get her another drink.
Lisa, I can make a few bucks on YouTube. Let's get you to do that.
The Wednesday Addams Dance School.
Yeah.
No, but getting back to this favorite episode, when each of the family members tells you what you need to do, you're kind of upset because each person gives you not only a task, but also, and if that doesn't work, they give you a rope or a chain or something to attack a little bit. And then finally you're scooting with your little feet kind of together, and you kind of come in and Lurch is there, and you go, well, do you have some advice for me? And he goes, and you just put your stuff down, you give him a big hug, you go, I love you. And I went, oh, that is so great. That is so cool.
Yeah, besides the fabulous people,
was
John
gonna say,
Aston,
the
Carolyn
cast,
Jones, Morticia Gomez, Jackie Coogan, Uncle Fester,
Yeah.
Ted Cassidy, Lurch. Besides the great cast, it was just such a fun show to work on. It really was. The crew, the cast, it was a great experience. I have not one bad memory about it. Except when I worked with Don Rickles.
Go.
Really?
Well, they were burglars. It was a Halloween episode.
Right.
I'm up the tree in front of the house in a pink fluffy dress, which is supposed to be spooky, right?
Right.
And everything backwards with
Sure.
the Addams Family. And I never forgot a line. They never had to take a scene over because I forgot my lines. And at one point, not because of me, they had a couple of things that I had to shoot over. But he looked at me and he said, honey, can you get your lines right this time? Because Uncle Don's knees are hurting down here. Then I couldn't remember a line.
He was notorious for not knowing his lines, though.
Yeah, it was something like that.
When he improv a
But
lot.
after he
Yeah.
said that to me, it was like, that's the
self-conscious.
only time
Yeah.
I forgot.
And was he
any
trying to be
lines.
funny or?
I don't
messing
know.
with
It
you.
just scared me.
Yeah, leave for Don Rickles. Picking on a little
Don
kid.
Rickles scares one of the Addams Family.
It's a backward reality, It's,
Well, people ask me, were you afraid? All the creepy, weird things on the set. I was so young, I really didn't have much to compare it to.
Right.
It was just natural and normal to me. It was no big deal.
It was natural to have a giant polar bear that's all fierce in the living room.
It didn't faze me. No, it was like.
But that's my question then, is you, at that age, walking into this big show that becomes a hit, and how does that change your life? How do you go from doing all these other things and doing modeling, and now you're the star of a big TV show?
I didn't realize it for a long, long time.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like a fun thing to do.
Yeah,
right?
and children, especially that age, always want to please, so you do what you're asked.
Right.
And I didn't realize until I went back to public school.
Oh.
And boy, the kids were brutal. You know how mean kids can be.
Like jealous.
So they
Massey
hated
brutal?
me. They hated me because they were jealous of me, or they liked me because of who I didn't know. Right or left, or who was coming at me.
Right,
it was,
right.
the experience of doing the show itself was great. But my life after that, there weren't a lot of kids on TV shows back
Right,
then.
that's true.
I was
Right.
among the first group of children actors
true.
on
Well,
television. Now there's a kid, on almost every show.
Yeah, but it's like, what did kids do? Did they go, oh, you're the creepy kid? Or
they'd
were
set
they
me up to get in trouble.
Really?
And, I didn't do anything. But because of who I was, there was a whole to-do about it. Even some adults in grammar school.
Oh.
So it must
Who do you
be
think you are?
It must be you. No, you must, and they thought when it wasn't me.
Right.
It was very strange.
Do you feel you were typecast as Wednesday, which might have kept you from getting other roles?
Oh,
as a
not at
child?
all, because I was so young. And I did several things after that, like A Girl from U.N.C.L.E., Dr. Kildare, episodic
Cool.
things, commercials.
Yeah.
And then when I was about 10, 11, I told my mom, I don't want to do this anymore. I just want to go to school because I had a really tough time in public school. And so I didn't. And I got back into acting when I was about 17, started studying again, got a great agent. And I did things like Fantasy Island,
Yeah.
Barnaby Jones.
Cool.
I even read with Carl Malden for a TV series. And I didn't realize on the waterfront all the things he'd done, but I knew he was important.
Right.
And they had me read with him. It was for a TV
Was
series
it
called...
Streets of San Francisco?
No, it was for a TV series called Skag about a Polish coal mine worker. It didn't last. It didn't last very long.
Was it a comedy? What?
No, it wasn't. It was full on drama.
Wow.
But I learned that scene and I read with him, and my grandmother told me how important this was. He was huge,
Right.
and because I didn't really see until after that the things
Right.
that
Oh
he'd
my
done
God, he's
when
been-
I started studying and whatnot. And the scene ran out. I'm playing his daughter, right? And he kept ad-libbing. So I said, Daddy, I love you, and threw my arms around him. When the scene finally ended, it seemed like a couple of minutes to me. It was probably 10, 15 seconds.
Right.
And Malden looked at me and he said, beautiful work. And I knew I had that part. Nepotism, you know who got it? Kitty Holcomb, the producer's niece, who was blonde and completely wrong for the part.
That's Hollywood.
So when you decided that you didn't want to do this anymore, you wanted to go to school before you
wanted to be
went
a
back
normal
into it.
kid.
You want to be a normal kid. How did that go over at home? Because
No, well, they understood.
It was
My
okay?
mom understood it. Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
Because that's not normally what you get.
No.
Well, a lot of parents that I have known, of friends of mine, they live vicariously
Sure.
through their
Sure.
child,
Sure.
but I didn't have that problem. So
I live vicariously through my parents.
So with the cast, though, I just want to talk a little more about. I mean, I'd heard that like John Astin was a kind of a real mentor for you. I mean, like how much did you bond with everybody on the show?
Yeah, I wanted to
I
find
bonded
out.
with everybody on the show. And John is still like a second father to me.
Wow.
He told my mother before he married Patty Duke, I had Sean and Mackenzie. He had 3 sons with his first wife, and they wanted a little girl. And he told my mother, if we don't have a girl this time, we want to adopt Lisa because we want one just like her. He loved me. It was him and David Levy, the producer that I told you about, that picked me.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
And then Carolyn Jones and I were very close.
Really?
I'd sit in her
So
dressing
awesome.
room
She's
all the
so
time.
beautiful.
She was one of the best people I ever knew. And she was like a second mother to me. My mom told me when I first met her, I'd call her Carolyn. She goes, no, you call her Miss Jones. And Carolyn heard this. She goes, I'll tell you what. You call me Miss Carolyn and I'll call you Miss Lisa. And she never had kids, so I was like her only daughter. And
Right.
we stayed very close. And when I got the soap opera, when I was 21, moved to New York City, she, shortly after that, got same network, a soap opera called, I think it was Capital, on CBS, same network.
Oh, okay.
And she told the production people, we hadn't spoken a couple of years, when Lisa comes back out to see her family, I want her to come to the set. And of course I did. And the publicity department took tons of photos of us together.
cool.
We did really look like mother and daughter all these
Yeah,
years later.
I-
And
yeah.
she died 8 months after that. She didn't tell anyone she was sick. And 53 of colon cancer. Yeah.
That's so sad.
But I have these great photos of
Oh,
us
yeah.
together,
And then Jackie Coogan,
Oh.
obviously a child star at the time.
What a
Yeah.
trip,
He was
what a
out.
trip
Yeah.
he
Charlie
was,
Chaplin
man.
and the
Yeah.
kid. So did he have like? I mean, did he?
He
kinda
was
give you-
very stern with Kenny and I.
Really?
And
Really?
But he watched out for us also. But, his parents, that's why they created the Coogan Law.
I know, it's so
His
sad.
parents,
Right,
in the
it's-
20s,
Yeah.
silent films took $4 million from him.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what that
so
had been?
there's
It was like
what
120 million today.
Yeah,
And it was,
absolutely.
if I remember correctly, it was his mother and stepfather
Yeah, I believe so,
that did
right.
it. And what happened was when he got older, he wasn't doing the kid films. He thought there was all this money there, and
Right,
it wasn't.
yeah, something
And-
like that. I
and
don't know
it-
the exact details.
And
but
it is true that because of him, there's the Coogan Act, which
like a
is
legal
yeah,
precedent.
yeah,
absolutely.
it takes
Yeah,
care
we
of-
had to go to court.
It's like 15% of
30.
30 now.
30.
30.
Yeah, the rest. If
has to go into a
you
trust
Well,
if we're-
no,
Trust
the rest,
fund, right.
if you showed cause that you had to live on that money,
Right.
30% was put away, and the rest went to me and my mother and my agent.
But he worked an awful lot. I mean, my
Oh, he
understanding
did
is
lots.
he did
Yeah.
everything.
So did Carolyn.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And John is one of the most interesting, innately funny people I have ever
He's
met.
no matter what he's in. He's
He's great in
always
everything.
He's
great.
brilliant.
Yes.
He really is.
I saw him in a Edgar Allan Poe one-man show.
Right, he did that. Well,
That was
he's
brilliant.
from Baltimore originally. That's where he lives now. So was Edgar Allan Poe.
He was so
and he
good.
toured all over the country with that one-man show.
This was
And we went-
Nevermore.
No,
No,
this is a different show.
A different show. Okay.
Yeah. But we went backstage, and
You got to meet him?
Oh, he the nicest guy.
Did he tell you
ever.
stories when you asked him questions?
Yeah, oh, yeah,
Because he
yeah.
would never. He would sit and answer everybody's questions, and he is the best stories. I mean, just loves to talk about it. Yeah.
A sweetheart of a guy.
Really wonderful man.
Well,
So-
you've mentioned some of the main cast, but I really want to know about Ted Cassidy and just what it was like.
Chemistry that you guys had together.
Lisa, watching you guys, because there's the ballet dance that you guys do together. You were so tiny, and he's so huge.
like
Well, he was
10 of you
actually
that could've-
7 feet tall, but they also put lifts on his shoes.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
you make me even
but
taller.
Ted
get in the
Ted was
building.
friends with my mother, so we'd spend time at his house. And he was classically trained at Juilliard.
Wow.
And but he had problems getting parts. I always wanted to be the monster because he was so tall.
Sure.
And the deep voice.
So he was, and then because was it giganticism? Yeah, because he was so tall. In '79, he had to go in for heart surgery, and he didn't make it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
But
was
he-
wonderfully kind, wonderful man. I loved him.
There was a great moment when you guys are doing the ballet dance. And your mom and dad say, "Oh, your Wednesday's taught
right.
Lurch how to dance."
And
let's
then
watch.
I jump into his arms, and I say, "Okay, now you learn."
jump into his.
And Mortician, no.
There's a moment he's about to jump into you, and you have your arms out. And
Yeah,
you're all,
I
"No!"
remember that well, but I didn't remember doing the Watch It Tuesday thing that you can find on the internet now.
The big famous dance.
But Lurch was actually like this brilliant secret ingredient to the Addams Family.
Oh, yeah.
He's so droll, in a way that like the Munsters, by example, was obvious.
Mm-hmm.
But Lurch, he was part of what made the Addams Family so much more subtle.
Oh yeah,
The fact that you can get a laugh on a look, on a sound.
Yeah.
Sure.
And my understanding was originally Lurch was going to be mute. He wasn't going to have any dialogue whatsoever. But the thing was, it was his idea to do the "you rang,"
He had such a great
and
voice.
it was so funny. They go, "Oh my gosh, this is great!" Which is giving Lurch the ability to speak and stuff.
And moan.
and
Yeah,
and
you
yes,
know he was Thing too, don't you?
Yeah,
the hand.
He was Thing too?
Yeah,
I did not know
when
that.
he was no CGI back then.
course.
When he was in the same shot, it was our executive producer Jack Vogelin's hand because he is the second largest
Oh.
hand. But if Lurch wasn't in the same scene
Really?
as Thing, because that went up through a table
Yeah.
with a hole in the table and came
Yeah.
out of the box.
Oh, wow.
Do you remember the one with Thing and then Lady Fingers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was funny. I thought it cracked me up even at that age.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, Ken Weatherwax, was it? Were you guys was it like a brother and sister relationship?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I was always curious about
Yes,
that.
we fought like brother and sister.
Really?
At one time, they had to put, with the teacher from the Board of Education.
Yeah.
That's where I started first grade, was on the set, They'd put a partition between us. We were throwing pins at each other. And
So this is the guy who played Pugsley.
Pugsley. And Kenny, brothers and sisters all have problems, right? I'm an only child. And he was just like sort of perturbed because I was like the pet of the set. Everybody, I was the tiniest.
Yeah.
Everyone looked out for me.
Everyone loved you.
Yeah.
Come on. Did they kind of
But
brush him
Kenny and I
aside?
Kenny and I got very, very close later
Really?
in life. Yeah.
I can't remember if I ever shared this with you guys, but when I was a little kid, the kids in my neighborhood in New York growing up called me Pugsley.
Really? No. Wow.
And
Were you chubby as a kid? Because you're not now.
Yeah.
He's a handsome man.
Well, it's better than
Yes,
calling
he is.
you Morticia.
I look at the show now and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, kinda.
See, now Kenny
And I
was
have-
typecast.
Oh, really?
He never,
Right.
ever got out of that. And you know what? He became a grip. He never wanted to go in front of the cameras again.
Really?
So
Really?
he became I don't have my glasses.
Yeah.
A key grip.
Okay, that's me as 8 years
Oh,
old.
you don't look
So,
at
so
it.
James
Showing a photo.
James brought a photo of himself. Oh my God!
He actually does. He actually does. look
That's
like
you?
Pugsley.
That was
He
me
does
as 8
not
years
We'll have
old.
to
He
post
does
that.
not look like
Post that.
anything like Pugsley.
Thank you, but
Well, let me
I
see.
don't know.
Let me see.
Now, cousin It, you kind of like, but
You wouldn't believe Cousin It.
That's like suburban
I know
Pugsley.
it.
I do.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Cousin
Wait a
It.
minute. I do a lot of shows with him.
Felix.
Felix. He was an Ewok in Star Wars.
Tweaky.
He was Tweaky in
He
Buck
was,
Rogers.
Matt
Tweaky?
Yes, your
But
favorite,
you know
Matt.
what he is?
He's in so many
He's
things.
not a dwarf. He is a midget. He's a perfectly proportioned little man.
Right,
He's
right.
going to be like 86.
Oh my God.
I call
I
him the
love to- oh my God, I
Energizer
love to
Bunny.
get
He
him on the
never
show.
stops.
Yeah,
ever.
he's in stuff all the
and
time.
he still has a slight Italian accent, you know.
Sexy.
But
Always.
you never see him. People only know him as the
I know.
Ewok
He's
or
right.
Thing,
so many
or
things.
Tweaky. Is that what his name was? in Buck Rogers?
yeah.
I never saw Buck
Maybe
Rogers.
you never watched Buck
You gotta see
Rogers?
Buck Rogers.
Do you know who has a life-size Tweaky robot in his house?
You're looking at him right here.
Really?
Yeah.
You've never
Sean.
met
Yeah.
Felix?
No, I would love to.
I do a lot of shows. As a matter of fact, he called me yesterday. I haven't gotten back
gotta
to
get him on the show.
Felix Silla.
Totally.
What?
Let's call him now.
Can we get him on the show?
Yeah, I'd love to get Felix.
Tweaky?
Yes,
Of course.
He lives in Las Vegas. So
okay, we'll go to
when
Las
he comes
Road
out-
trip,
when he comes out
hey.
to California is when you've got to get him. But
Okay,
stay
yeah.
in touch with me. I'll let you know. I'll tell him about it too.
Totally.
You've just made Shawn Sheridan's day. Let me tell you.
Cousin It was another character that was created for the show.
Right.
He was not
right.
part of the
no, he was
original
not
Charles
by
Adams
Charles
characters.
Adams.
Fascinated
But,
by that
he
character.
Has
Yeah,
some
yeah.
very, very interesting stories.
Really?
He he was the only one shorter than me on the show, but he was an adult, and he remembers a lot. Some of his
Right, right.
stories are hysterical.
Oh my god.
And was that his real hair?
Yeah, right.
Do you ever wonder that costume must have just reeked after a while?
Well, they went through several different costumes.
Did they?
Sure.
They had to,
Yeah,
they had to
the
be
first
destroyed
one-
after every.
Wait a minute. The first one was human hair.
What? Human
yes,
hair?
Yes, but you could smoke back then, and the grips were always putting a cigarette the cigarette butt out on the
like someone
ground.
going up and
so,
putting
yeah,
Cigarette out on Cousin It.
on the ground, but they
my
were afraid.
God.
Yeah, he'd set 'em on
that
fire.
Would go up in
Yeah.
flames. Then it went to synthetic. He knows the whole story.
Oh
I
my
can't
gosh.
tell you
Oh my
any
gosh.
more than that.
That's crazy. So were the shoots pretty quick and tight? I mean, was it like a well-oiled machine shooting the show?
Yeah, pretty much because they did a lot more seasons back then.
I
So
noticed
say
it was like 30 episodes or
It
more
was like
for a
say
season.
it was 2 seasons, full seasons.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's something like almost 7.
yeah, there is. That's crazy. But for you, was it like? Did you have weekends? Like?
Oh yeah, I never worked on weekends.
Right. Okay.
I had to during half the year it was a hiatus, and I had to go back to public school,
Right.
and half the year we'd shoot, and so it was sort of hard at times, and only 3 hours of school a day. You know.
Right.
Paradise.
Yeah. Really.
And what was the standard workday for you?
Oh God, it's so hard for me to remember. But the law was they couldn't work you, but you had to have that 3 hours of school a day. So they added that in with 8 hours a day. You
Okay.
could,
Right.
something like that.
And the show was concurrent, if I'm correct, with the Munsters, right? When
Yeah, they were on at the
Almost
same
almost
time.
exact
What was
same
there
time.
any-
Both Universal.
Did you perceive any sort of rivalry or competition?
No. Well, we shot on different lots.
Right.
The lot that the Addams family shot at, big soundstage, was called General Services, so it wasn't at Universal, and that's where the Munsters shot. But on our lot, Petticoat Junction, Beverly Hillbillies, Green Acres, Mr. Ed, and the Addams Family. It was heaven for me because there's so many animals around for me to play with as a little girl.
Mr. Ed? You
should've
got
done
to
a-
hang out with Mr.
They should
Ed?
have done a crossover episode with all those cats.
But I loved Ava Gabor. I was introduced to her. She
Me
said,
too.
please come visit me when you're on break. So my mother or grandmother used to take me over there, and I'd sit on her lap, and she had little Yorkie dogs, which I loved. And then my mother said to me one day, did you see... I didn't mean anything to me. Did you see the size of that rock on her hand?
Right.
But she never had kids either, and she just loved me. She was very sweet, very sweet.
Those Gabors, man, they knew how to marry.
But she was much different than Jaja. Jaja and her were
Right.
much different because
Yeah.
Jaja ended up doing quite a few episodes of As the World Turns that I did. She was a
okay.
trip. She was a trip.
Was she a little more prickly, maybe?
Well, not to me, but yeah,
Okay.
she wanted things
Right,
a
right.
certain way, her way, and had all of her perks that she needed to do
Sure,
anything.
sure.
Yeah.
I thought Ava was brilliant when it came to comedy.
Yes,
Yeah.
she
She
was,
was.
and she was such a lovely, sweet lady.
Yeah, just the timing.
And look
Yeah.
at Jaja held on till 90 something, even with her diabetes, losing a leg,
Losing a leg,
so
yeah.
much,
I
and
know.
she just didn't want to go.
That's right. Yeah, that's someone that really wants to live.
I think she ended up getting married. Was it 9 times? It was something really...
Something
Some crazy
outrageous.
time.
Yeah.
So were there any particular guest stars on Addams Family that you remember?
I mean,
Aside from Rickles.
other than Rickles that you liked or
Well, Margaret Hamilton played the aunt of who I don't remember right now, and
That's
she was
awesome.
very sweet. But when my mother told me she was the Wicked Witch of the West in The Wizard of Oz, I went, I couldn't. I was like. should I be afraid of her foot through my head or not? But she was really nice. So that was pretty special. She was on quite a few episodes, I think.
That's awesome.
It sounds like you weren't really intimidated by too many people that came on that show.
Well, no, because they were so good to us kids. They
Yeah.
were, I don't have a bad experience that I can recall. That always made us comfortable. Always, having fun, joking with us, and made everything light and very pleasant.
Yeah, when you're surrounded by that many funny people, that's got to be a joy.
And kind. It was like a dream cast, and the crew was great.
So when this was 2 seasons, 2 long full seasons,
Right.
but was it canceled just because of ratings? I mean, did you get a sense of that?
Exact story. It was something to do. I think Reagan was president of Screen Actors Guild back then.
Oh, I see
Something
now.
to do with the royalties and something about Hogan's Heroes. But they canceled like the Munsters and the Addams Family at the same time. And the Addams Family was scheduled to be shot in color the next year. I don't know if that would have worked.
No.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't think
I
so.
don't think so.
It's
No.
funny because there's something about the black and white that I
absolutely.
love, and it gives it that classic, almost like a horror movie.
Well,
And
of
it
course-
looks like the
Of course,
cartoons.
it would have cost much more to do in
Yeah.
color
Yeah.
also.
Sure.
there are a few
But the
pictures.
ratings were great, so I'm not exactly sure
Yeah, I
why
always
that
wonder,
happened.
but it's interesting that like a lot of shows that iconic shows that people remember, like the Munsters or Batman or the Addams Family, they had such an impact on our culture. You think, those shows are on for like 9, 10 seasons. They weren't. There were 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah. But they just did a lot
Because of
more
syndication.
episodes.
Well, that's
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, let's face it. I mean, there are some shows that went into syndication, and because of their popularity, because people love to
Right.
watch them, Addams Family is one of those shows. There's Star Trek, right, James? Star Trek, yeah.
There was a time when that stuff was just in constant rotation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
People still say to me, "That's all 2 years." It seems like,
Right.
Because it was rerun forever.
Right.
you know?
Right.
Now, with the Munsters thing, did you ever meet them? Did you socialize
No,
ever with?
we were on different lots. I didn't meet Butch, who's a very good friend of mine now.
Oh, I was
Of
gonna
course,
say,
was
did you
Eddie
they ever try
Munster.
to hook you guys
Butch,
up, or-
Butch and I, we started doing autograph shows. We became very good friends. Yeah,
Okay.
but not because we were 2 separate lots.
Right.
so.
Right.
Now, I mean, I may have to go out on a limb here. I mean, we've talked about this before. I mean, the thing about the Munsters that bugged me a little bit is I always thought they were kind of making fun of monsters, and monsters were very, very special and close to me. But I never got that with the Addams Family.
Oh no, they loved them.
Yeah,
Celebrating them.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
that's just it. And
They thought everybody else was strange.
Right.
exactly.
And they were.
Well, because that's how I kind of felt, you know.
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
we have my little rubber skeleton and my skull.
It's the perfect show for the misfit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, like I said, they were such a close. They supported one another, such a close family unit.
And I always remember watching the show and thinking, why don't the normal people think this stuff is cool too?
Yeah.
Again, I wanted to live in that house. I wanted to collect spiders.
Where was the kid? Where it would have been great for the other kid to go. Oh, this is great. Hey, Wednesday Pugsley,
Well,
let's hang
Yeah.
out. You know,
What other kid in the neighborhood would not want to see Gomez do a train wreck?
Yeah.
Right. But the thing is that like the kid might have lived next door, but their parents were shocked and surprised
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
and, what's Carolyn and Morticia and Gomez.
What are they up to over
What's
there?
the matter with them? I thought they were perfectly normal.
I always loved that they went to the beach at night. I thought that was a great thing. I was like,
Well, there's that one episode where there's a beatnik, of course.
I remember that one.
Crashes his motorcycle into the house, and he comes hiding from his dad, who wants to disown him or
Who
something.
did that? He was well known for doing something. What
Yeah,
was
he had
his
a
name?
guitar
Rusty
and-
Kramer. I don't know. I can't remember.
But it was funny because
there was a Beatles one too, right?
was there? I
Wasn't
can't
there
remember
like
if there was
a kind of a
like a rock band type
Yeah.
of thing? Yeah, but I remember the beatnik because it was like he ended up like. It was his birthday, and like the Addams Family like threw a birthday for him, and they realized, oh, like this family's really cool, and like I just like that one. That was cool.
Now, one of the neat things about Wednesday that I liked is Wednesday seemed like a regular kid, but she just had these peculiar things that she liked. Like she was really into Marie Antoinette or
Pet spider.
pet spiders and a lizard and something like that. And did that freak you out at all when they had the little lizard or something?
no, not at all. Like I said, you'd like to please when you're a child
Yeah.
and do what you're asked, so everyone's happy with you. And I didn't really have at that age too much to compare it to, and they
Right.
made me feel so comfortable. And no, I wasn't freaked out by anything.
Did you at at that time have any kind of, because I know that when we were growing up around that age, we already were down the path of like we loved monster movies and horror films and things like that. Were you at that age? Did you have kind of a like for that kind of stuff?
Scary movies or anything?
No, I don't watch them at all. When I was
that's our show.
I'm not a horror fan. I went to see it with friends of mine, 12 or 13, I don't even remember which one it was. It scared me so much.
Which movie?
I don't remember what it was, but it was awful. It was a real slasher film. And we went to the movie theater, and it just scared me so much. I never watched them again.
You know what would be perfect for you then is a movie called Night of the Lepus.
Oh, no.
It's
No. I take it it's really scary.
No.
Quite the opposite.
giant killer rabbits.
Bunnies.
It's really silly.
Bunnies.
But,
It's like-
but they're not.
yeah.
But they're rabbits. But they got like a little miniature town, and they just got real rabbits and smeared some like jam on them.
Yes, but Lisa, the thing is, in the preview, they make it out like Night of the Lepus, and it shows all these.
No one will
big-name
be
people.
seated during the
it's
mating
like,
scene.
They're like horrified. I mean, see DeForest.
Do you know that the worst B movies have such a cult following?
Oh, we know.
The worst ones that weren't any good. People love them.
No.
Yeah. We did a 3D show when we had Eric Kurland on, who was a really well-known 3D specialist, and one of his favorite movies, it's a 3D film, it's Robot Monster, which is voted as one of the worst movies ever made, but for some reason it touched him.
There's a real naive charm that goes with some of this material.
Remember what Carolyn Jones was in also?
Go.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers?
Yes.
This
right.
one? Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't
No,
remember.
yeah.
And that was before the Addams Family. That was in the 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Have you seen that movie?
Yeah, I did see that because she was in it. But
Yeah.
as a rule, I don't.
No.
I don't see horror
No.
movies.
That's a good movie, though. Yeah.
Oh, it's a classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now, at that age, though, were you aware that this was a family that was alternative, that they were like not a normal family and into weird things? Or?
They were different.
Okay, so
Yeah.
at least you had that awareness at that age.
Yes.
So Addams Family, though, like it's amazing how durable the Addams Family is throughout the decades.
It has a life of its own. It's multi-generational, and it just keeps going.
and in
It's
pretty much
something else.
in pretty much every media format, there's some kind of Addams Family because like after
their show.
not too long after the Addams Family was done on television, they did Scooby Doo episodes.
Yeah.
With the Addams Family, yeah.
Family.
Right.
And they're like guest
I saw that.
guest characters.
Those are the only ones I really wanted to watch. Was the ones where it would be somebody I really like would team up with Scooby-Doo.
And they designed those animated designs were very close to Charles Addams' drawings.
Yeah.
And that was so popular that they then Hanna-Barbera then did its own series.
Right. I
Addams
saw a
Family
few of
series.
those
right.
too. Yeah.
There was a show that I guess it was a one-time episode or a pilot that I've never seen. I'm really curious about, it was called the Addams Family Funhouse in 1973. It was a TV pilot for it was a live-action musical variety show.
I never saw that. I don't think I've even ever heard of it.
And Butch Patrick played Pugsley.
Yeah.
Wow.
No.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
But you never even told me that. I have no idea about
I've never
that.
seen it.
Well, you have to
Sounds
ask
like
him
a
about
real
it
oddity.
now.
I think it aired, but it never became a series. And that's a weird one.
Was that around when he was doing Lidsville?
Maybe 1973.
Around that
So
age.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It sounds
I'm
like
really
a Sid
curious
Marty
about
Krofft
that.
type thing. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I know that he did that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously the Addams Family was still popular, like you said, in syndication. It was still going strong. So the one other time then that you returned to your role of Wednesday Addams was in it was like a reunion TV
the reunion.
movie.
That was right before Ted Cassidy died, and it was so bad because we didn't have the same writers.
It was
It's-
Halloween with the Addams Family,
And it was
1977.
not only brilliant actors, but the writing
Yeah.
that
Right.
made it.
But also, we were just talking about black and white. This was shot in color on video, and it just
Yeah, it was horrible.
something wrong with it.
It was
It was
horrible.
weird. Yeah,
I mean, it was
You
neat.
know how weird I felt? My hair
'Cause
was
you- 'cause
red.
you were like
and
a
not that
teenager by
long,
then.
So my
Yeah.
my braids were like this short.
They were
and
only
I
to your
was already
shoulder.
developed, and
Yeah,
it just
well, hey.
didn't work.
it was really
Well,
strange.
no, part of it no, Lisa, no, trust me, some of it worked.
It was
I
awful.
wanted.
They had me to like playing the flute.
Yeah, that was.
And then there was
Walking away.
Then there was a Wednesday Junior and a Pugsley Junior.
Yeah, right.
It was
So they
just-
they still
the
wanted little
writing was
kids.
horrible.
So it was like
Wait.
it was like there was still a little Wednesday and Pugsley. They were like the
They were
next
juniors,
generation,
right?
but then there
Or-
was still the older. It was still
it was
Ken and
horrible.
you.
It was horrible.
It was bizarre.
Yeah,
I mean, Carolyn and John Astin still look great. You know, they were still doing it, but
to
like
see
it wasn't
everybody
the
together
same.
again.
Yeah, it was
it's kind
nice.
of-
That was
yeah.
nice. It was
Yeah.
the script. It was just not good, and
No.
but you looked great.
It was the writing.
Yeah.
I did not.
No.
I felt it was so embarrassing.
I wonder,
What year was this?
1977.
Oh, you got
Okay, so we're how old at the time?
Well, this is 14. I mean,
Yeah,
this
okay.
is the
All
Star
right.
Wars had just come out, kind
yeah.
of a thing, and you know, but you know, you look great. You know, I wish your hair was a little longer, but
No, I hated it.
But your hair was red?
Reddish. Yeah.
Reddish.
Yeah.
but you got a few bucks for it, you know. And
It was great to see everybody and get back
Sure.
together with
Sure,
everybody,
sure.
but it was
Right.
just
it was just
bad.
a one.
Kind of an interesting footnote in the.
See, even people who are really talented, if you don't always give them good material,
Sure. Of course.
you never know what you're going to get.
That's the kind of thing if they put the entire cast like in a room together and just like let you guys like reminisce, that would have been more entertaining.
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah, really. So then I guess there was a bit of a break, I guess, in Addams Family, material until the 90s.
Yeah.
right? When we had the Addams Family movie in 1991.
I'm
Yeah,
really
I
curious.
liked them. I didn't see the second one, but they went such a different way, much more dark and morose.
Yeah,
Right.
You
yeah.
know,
Well,
and
Christina
not the,
Ricci.
not the witty,
No.
intelligent humor. You
Right,
know,
and lots more effects. Like
and like for example, I think Angelica Houston is a wonderful actress,
Yeah.
but the thing about Morticia was the dichotomy. She was so delicate and beautiful
yeah.
that the weirdness made it even weirder. You know,
Yes.
right.
So they didn't get that.
She also had an understated sex appeal that I don't think Angelica Houston. She's a beautiful woman, but there was something about Carolyn Jones where she almost had to do nothing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It was much different, but I still liked what they did, but it was
Right.
totally different.
Right. It was strange to me too. Like now they could do like the effects where like Thing is walking all around.
That I didn't
But, like,
like.
Oh,
you didn't- you
The
didn't like
mystery
that?
of you didn't know he came up through the
And
table.
Thing was a
the
whole
box,
arm. He was a whole
instead of just-
arm though.
Me too.
Right.
Yeah, he was a whole
right.
arm.
The mystery was
What was
Where
on the
does
other
he-
end?
What?
Right.
What is
Right.
and
he?
here they have a
Right?
CGI hand.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
No, it was
way
a
too
real. It
much.
was a real hand.
It didn't
It was
work,
a real
though.
hand.
I agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
That did
and
not
to me,
work.
what was also funny and that they made good use of in the show was the box. The box
Yeah.
would be a gag.
Yeah.
So on your classic TV show, Thing was always in some kind of a box.
Yeah,
Something,
you never
right.
knew where it came
And
from or where
Thing,
it went to.
and Thing in the 90s, he was a
walking all
hand that
over
could
the place.
run around.
Yeah.
And
Like a spider.
Well, see,
it,
I,
it just didn't work.
I
you
actually
know.
didn't mind that. You know what my issue was? I'll tell you my
Okay, here
issue.
we go.
I loved classic Addams Family with Lurch that could actually talk and actually converse. And what I didn't like is how in the 90s, don't get me wrong, I do like it, but the guy who played Lurch,
I didn't like
he
that.
had
He was-
no
no.
lines.
Carol Strickland.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
yeah,
and it's like, and it
And
bugged
no
me.
personality.
No, and yes, Matt, and it bugged me because number one, it was almost like they tossed that character away. It's like, oh, we just need a tall guy, get the tallest guy, and he had no personality, whereas Lurch had loads of
There
personality.
was also a strangely kind of almost childlike quality
Yes.
about him,
Yes.
whereas the original Lurch, Ted
Yeah,
Cassidy,
it didn't work. It
No.
didn't work.
it was a
agree.
nice balancing act of menace and comedy
Yes.
and sensitivity.
And you didn't know if Lurch might take out an axe or something. You know,
Right.
you never got that with the Frankenstein-esque look of the Lurch in the 90s. However, I am going to say that I think the two kids who played Wednesday and
Yeah,
Pugsley, I mean,
Christina
I
did a great job.
I thought she
Yeah.
I
was
think
great.
they
good.
steal it.
Yeah, and it's funny because what I loved about you in your TV shows, you were like a regular kid that liked creepy stuff. Christina's in a portrayal, it's like she is dark. She is,
Very
dark.
but
Right.
also I think she was older
Well,
than you.
that's she was, and that's
Right.
the way the director Barry Sonnenfeld wanted it to go. I met her recently, finally, and she said he would not let her watch any of the series. He didn't want her
Really?
picking up anything.
okay.
But she said after the second movie was done, she watched the whole show back to back. Yeah.
Wow, nice.
Well, I do think she did a great job as Wednesday.
She's great.
And she
She's
has
a really
some of
good
and she has some of the best lines.
Yes.
I think.
Totally.
And the kid who plays Pugsley, I mean, he's fine. He's almost like
he's a great straight man.
Yeah, he is. Exactly, because he's always the foil for what she's going to do.
He has kind of an innocence that leads him into like he's just the perfect victim.
Yes, exactly, exactly. But there some of the shots and the
Pugsley
looks
in the series, he was a bit more menacing.
Yeah, it's true.
I would recommend the second one much more than the first
I
one.
never saw the second one.
The second one is funny.
I do
really
like that one,
like
yeah.
the second
Yeah.
one.
The second one is
it just
great.
works in a way that the first one almost seemed like a setup for it.
This is the one where Uncle Fester is he gets engaged and he's going to
Yeah,
get
he's
married,
lonely
and
Right.
Pugsley and Wednesday know that something's going on with
Christopher
this.
Lloyd.
Yeah.
And so they send the kids off to camp, right?
yeah.
And
The camp stuff is great.
camp
it's good.
is great. It is
Yeah.
really, really fun. So I would recommend that.
I would
to you.
recommend that.
Well, I'll probably watch it sometime then.
But why I say you are the definitive, obviously you're the 1st, but also the way that you portrayed that role, the way that you would be innocent in the way of like, this is just regular life for you. You are not trying to be evil or coming off in any kind of malevolent way.
Right.
You just do what you do. And I thought that was a little more clever than what they
Yeah.
did in the movies.
I agree.
So you met Christina.
Yeah, I just met her very first autograph signing show she did in San Jose last April.
So she came to the show and she met you and
Yeah,
she
we met each other, and she was really nice. And she said, she told me that Barry Sonnenfeld wouldn't let her watch the TV series, and she watched all of it after they wrapped the second.
You know,
movie.
it's funny because she was so great playing Wednesday Addams in those that, I mean, she went on to kind of do some other creepy stuff. She played Lizzie Borden.
Yeah, she's a
Mayfair.
good
She had
actress.
really,
she's
really,
done a lot
really
of-
good.
She was
really
in
good.
Monster with Charlize Theron.
Oh, she's brilliant in that.
And Sleepy Hollow.
yeah.
Sleepy
Oh,
Hollow,
no,
where they
Tim
colored her
Burton.
hair
She's great.
blonde, which was kind of interesting.
She was blonde when I met her.
Really?
April, yeah.
Interesting.
She was, and she'd done a horror movie with John Cusack. I don't remember the name of it.
Now, did you possibly see the musical version that they did?
You know, I was invited to come. I was doing Chiller at
Right.
that time, so I was, on the East Coast, and they invited me to come and get up after the show was done and introduce me to people and whatnot. But I had an emergency back home. I had to
okay.
pass. So
I'm curious about that,
I
too,
wish
'cause
I
it
wish I
was,
would have seen it. I heard it was really
Yeah,
good.
Yeah, it was
Nathan
nominated
Lane.
for a bunch of awards.
Oh, that's
too.
good though.
And it was,
Yeah.
I guess I heard it all revolved around Wednesday, her getting married or something. I don't know.
So yeah, it was.
I
it
never
was-
got to see it.
It was Nathan Lane as Gomez and BB Newworth as Letitia.
yeah.
Yeah,
Perfect.
sounds like it should've
She's
been pretty
great.
good.
I'm not
she's-
sure
she's
about.
awesome.
I love Nathan Lane, but
Probably, as Gomez though, I could see him.
Yeah, I can
Totally.
see that.
maybe.
But they also made an animated series based on the new movies, which was on for a couple years.
I didn't see that either.
They made a Canadian produced show, a live action show in the 90s.
Did they really?
Yeah, which I've never seen. And they did another. It was a TV or a direct to video movie in 1998 called The Addams Family Reunion with Tim Curry as Gomez and Daryl.
I saw
Daryl
part
Hannah
of that.
as
Yeah, that was
Letitia.
strange.
Daryl Hannah.
Strange. Yeah.
And that was supposed to be a pilot, right?
It was supposed to be a pilot for yet another series. So it's just interesting that they keep trying. They keep bringing it back in some form. And now there's.
Like I said, it has a life of its own.
It
but
really
they'll never-
does.
I don't think they'll ever recapture the first, the
No.
original.
No way.
Yeah, it's.
There's a certain amount of magic. The writer and the actors that
Yeah.
all came together. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I wish there were more toys of the Addams Family, but
They didn't do a lot of
no,
marketing.
no. There's
Done
a
a lot,
game.
have they?
The Munsters did far more marketing.
Well, because
Yeah.
they looked like monsters, but I'm very privileged and lucky to have
Yes,
my
you are.
own little.
I've never seen
No,
those
you've never
before.
seen these. Okay, so I have on the table my little Addams Family. Madame Alexander doll set, which came out in 1998, and it's all it's the four main characters. It's Morticia and Gomez and Wednesday and Pugsley. And Wednesday comes with a little doll with a little head that's cut off, and it comes with the little thing in the box.
I have never seen
But
those.
but
nice.
these are so great, and the story. What's kind of cool is I always wanted these. Okay, but my mom was a big toy doll. She was a doll collector, and she got them really for me, but she held on to them. And she goes, well, I'm going to hold on to them. And then when I kick the bucket, then they'll be yours. Okay. And I go, oh, okay, Mom. And so the funny thing is my mom in the living room had a giant glass cabinet on the very bottom shelf were the Addams Family figures and also a Frankenstein and a Bride of Frankenstein, also from Madame Alexander. And when the nieces and nephews would come over, they'd point to those, and my mom would say, oh, those are Uncle Larry's creepy dolls. And the funny thing is my nieces and nephews never wanted to touch them because they were creeped out by them.
That's good.
So that's
worked out well for everybody.
It did because, they're in perfect shape.
They are.
Yeah, and
they look like you've taken good care of them.
Yes, because they're mint in the box too. Well, I've taken them out, but
they're not mint in the box now. They're out of the box.
But you see,
So now they know what they're in.
Matt,
people bring me all kinds of things at the shows to sign.
Oh, yeah.
Of whatever they did, and I've never seen these.
Well,
I guess
where have you been?
I'm surprised
You know
though,
about
because,
these?
But the monster. Like, what about Mego style figures of the
that would be
Sure.
cool.
Yeah.
That'd be
That'd be
awesome.
cool.
Like,
Everyone.
I mean,
I want everyone.
Yeah.
Now there is a model. There was a Great Aurora model kit of the house.
I do have
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
I think I
but it seems
remember
like-
seeing that one.
Yeah.
Glows in the dark.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it seems like figures are just a no-brainer. Like, I'm surprised nobody.
We did a show recently with Dr. Mego, who has now announced, that Mego toys are back.
It's like a
Do you know Mego?
famous toy
Mego's a
line.
Planet
Mego
Apes
was a
figures.
big toy company that put all kinds of pop culture figures out in the 70s.
And right now Mego is back, so you go to local Target, you'll see they have Star Trek figures and some Brady Bunch stuff. But I want to tell Dr. Mego they need to do Addams Family.
Yeah,
I mean, come on,
Yeah,
come
yeah.
on. Would you buy that?
Absolutely. The whole set.
A cousin It?
Everything.
They're really
Ma-
cute.
I want all
They're
of
Sean, you
really,
could light it
really
on
cute.
fire.
No, I
Yes.
wouldn't- I wouldn't
Except
for
that Gomez, his face sort of looks like a little boy.
Well, that's but you see, Lisa, that's the Madame Alexander look. It has, it has
Right,
that
I
Precious
get it.
moments.
I get
Yes,
it.
yes, exactly.
So Lisa, as in the 80s, you did the As the World Turns.
Mm-hmm.
So that this was like a soap opera they did for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So in your adulthood, did you start getting offers for like doing kind of a genre stuff like horror?
No.
Or
Really?
No. Like I said, I would never be typecast because,
Right.
they tell me my face hasn't changed much. But no, I just went out on auditions and got whatever I got. It wasn't because of the Addams Family, and I wasn't offered things like that.
Right,
so,
right.
No,
But
I never
you did
experienced
some
that.
movies later on, right? That were kind of like in the thriller.
Oh, yeah. After I did the soap opera, just, they were awful, but just to sort of
We'll be the judge of that.
just to sort of experiment, because I'd probably
Sure.
never get a role like that. You know
Right,
what I
right.
mean? So yeah, that was sort of fun.
So you did was it Dr. Spine or?
That's a more
Oh, no,
recent
that
one.
was just one little scene for a friend of mine in Chicago when I was doing Wizard World there.
okay.
But I did Blood Frenzy.
That sounds cool.
That's it, Blood Frenzy.
Iced and Savage Harbor. And,
Cool.
yeah, it was sort of funny. It was sort of fun.
That's awesome.
You are now doing you're going to these shows like the Chiller,
Right,
Monster
all across
Palooza,
the country
Cinema.
and Europe, everywhere.
And what is it like to meet fans from all over the world and what they say
From
to
every
you?
generation, too.
No, that's what I
really.
was telling you. It's a multi-generation. It has a life of its own. It never stops. It's always pleasant. I always have fun. You know what I mean? It's a pleasure to meet the people. I really enjoy it because I really feel proud to have been a part of this show, that is so well loved by so many people for so long.
And you see a lot of little girls dressed up as
Oh,
Wednesday
God,
Addams.
all the time. All the time. And teenage and adult women dressed as Wednesday. Too. Like the last
Don't
show
get me
I
started.
Did, there was like 15 of them,
Wow.
different ages and whatnot.
That's awesome.
I actually went on Amazon looking for a Wednesday figure, and all I saw were adult costumes for Wednesday Addams.
Is that funny?
So he bought those.
I think
Just
that's
parades in front of the
hysterical.
mirror. It's a hobby. I would kick myself if I didn't ask you, when you were on the set doing the show, tell me a crazy story. Something, just dig into your memory. If there's anything you got that it was just oh my goodness, I will never forget this moment.
Well,
Where,
the Morticia, when I was dressed like Morticia,
Yeah.
because it was so special to me.
yeah.
I fully remember being at a Halloween episode dressed in the pink party dress, which was scary to the Addams Family.
Yeah, I love that. I love
The
that.
Don
normal
Rickles.
outfit.
So funny.
Wednesday runs away from home. Hides in
yeah.
Huxley's bed.
Yes. I
You
that
know,
one.
gosh, I remember more when I watch an episode.
Right.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
All right. Let's put them on. Let's run it. Hit the lights.
But like, it seems like I said, the whole kind of goth look and the fact that people today in 2018, are dressing like Wednesday and Morticia, and even all the way back to Vampira, and Elvira.
But
and stuff.
people come up to at certain shows, the whole family.
Really?
Yeah, the mother
cosplay.
will be Morticia. Yeah, cosplay,
right.
and the father and their kids will be, Wednesday or Wednesday and Pugsley. It's really a trip.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I would love to be Thing. Like if you could figure out some way to put me in a box, and that would be great.
You'd want to be Thing?
I would love to. I loved Thing.
I know, but it's just.
I had kind of a man crush on Thing.
But Matt, it's just a hand, I mean,
I know, but that hand had to-
Wouldn't you want to be like cousin
quite,
It or
quite
something?
character for considering.
Larry, I would have thought Thing would be your favorite character because he's always mint in box.
Oh, yeah. Well, I love, look, I loved Lurch.
Yeah.
Lurch I thought was great.
Yeah.
But then again, I had this crush for Wednesday. I always wanted to take, her to, hey, there was this really cool haunted castle ride at Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk, and I
remember
wanted
that.
Do you remember that,
Yeah.
Matt? I always wanted to take Wednesday Addams on that.
Of course, yeah. I wanted to take Morticia.
Did you really?
Yeah, but I was that kind of kid.
Yeah. See, you were that kid. Yeah.
I've done haunted house shows all over the country.
Really?
What do you mean a haunted house? You were in the haunted house?
What they do is, like in Minnesota, Kenny and I, you don't sell your pictures. You just sign them. They pay you a flat fee
okay.
at
Okay.
a haunted house in that area.
That's kind of cool.
That's great.
Is there like special stuff that you do on Halloween? I mean, is it like
No,
you get a
I'm
lot
usually
more?
at a show signing up.
I gotta say, right? Sure.
Now, coming up in show business as a child, do you have any advice that you would give or warnings that you would give to any kind of child actor? I realize that things are different now,
Completely.
but just
Yeah.
just general kind of rule of thumb of an attitude of going into a project, and
Well, it's usually, of course, the parents who would ask me, and I'd say, wait until they decide they want to do it, and always make sure they have something to fall back on, because the entertainment industry is
Right.
if that's all you know, and you don't have another skill, watch out.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, we know.
living in the lap of luxury.
It can be tough.
Yeah.
But you were like when you were doing your schooling while doing the show, like it worked out, right? Like you were able to get all your studies in, when you were.
It wasn't,
First study.
I started
But,
first grade
know.
on the set. It wasn't a great start to,
Right, but you kind
school.
of right. But once you got into public school, like I said, that was a little tough, but still,
It was very tough.
But you went through it, and yeah.
Did you ever have that moment in the schoolyard where one of these kids is making fun of you and you just snapped and went, "Hey, at least I'm Wednesday."
I was too young for that.
What did you do last summer?
I was too young for that, and it always made me feel bad because kids can be brutal.
Yes,
you know?
they
Yes,
can.
they can.
Yes, they can.
It's amazing though that they can make fun of you for being successful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, kids.
Kids
and
have a
they're
talent.
Jealous.
Yeah.
They're jealous,
Sure.
or they're this, or they're that, or they're bullies.
Right.
And you were never the bully kid.
You're Wednesday.
You're Wednesday.
Wednesday's child is full of woe.
Wow.
And I think that's why Charles Adam named her Wednesday.
Yeah.
Wednesday's the hump day, and that Monday's child is fair of face, Tuesday's child is full of grace, Wednesday's child is full of woe, Thursday's child has far to go, Friday's child is loving and giving, Saturday's child works hard for a living, but the child that is born on the Sabbath day is blithe and bonny and good and gay. I was born on Sunday. So my grandmother got that made up for me, and I always had it
No
in my
way.
room.
That's awesome.
So you got the best of both worlds.
that's true.
Sort of, kind of, I guess.
That's awesome.
Well, Lisa, this has been great.
Thank you.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
thank
much.
you so much for
You're
making our
very
scene.
welcome.
And I wanted to point out to our listeners, and this is very important to me, that this is Lisa Loring's very first podcast.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Oh,
And I
Monster
wanna-
Party. Yeah.
Another
here.
monster party first.
That's right.
And I
Yes.
want to
A
thank
scoop.
you. Thank you for choosing us to be your first podcast.
Yes.
You're very welcome.
Thank you so
And
much.
only do our podcast. Whenever you have any feelings or thoughts that you want to share with people, just call
Call
here.
us.
Now I know, Lisa, you are a busy person. You're doing all kinds of things. Is there anything you're working on or something you want to plug?
Well, finally, I'm working on getting a website up and selling my photos through there because a lot of people don't make it to the autograph show.
It's true.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
There-
Logistically, in other countries, and so forth and so on.
There are
Yeah.
some people in Wisconsin that can't get out to Chicago or Los Angeles, to
Absolutely
meet with
correct.
to
Right.
rub elbows with the stars. So they're
So
looking for that.
should
website.
be up in a few months. I'm
Okay.
working on it right now. And then Hollywood weekend. Last weekend in October, I'm doing Chiller in New Jersey, big show, and
Cool.
then I don't know for next year yet.
But it's like if people just check like some of the big shows like Chiller or Monster Palooza, Son of Monster Palooza, Mad Monster Party, some of these you will be at.
Oh yeah, I don't know which one's next year, but
Right.
the last one I have this year is Chiller.
Awesome.
Well, again, it is a dream come true, Lisa, to have you here on our
Absolutely.
show. I feel like this is such a big thrill for me. The beautiful woman or young girl who I saw. who I wanted to marry.
Easy, careful,
Woman now.
careful.
But here you are.
Way to
on our
ruin it at the
show.
very last minute.
But I just want to give a toast to Lisa Loring, Wednesday Addams. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Time for listener shout out.
Shut up!
This goes out to
That was long.
the shout. This goes
Time
out.
for a listener Doppler effect.
All
This
right.
goes out to Henry Gonzalez from Gig Harbor, Washington.
Henry Gonzalez.
Who is now the proud owner of a Monster Party cap.
Right. He didn't.
He did. Thank you, Henry. Appreciate you buying the legendary Monster Party cap.
It is legendary.
A second shout out from Todd Johnson at Louisville, Kentucky.
Todd Johnson.
Todd Johnson.
Now, this could be Todd's second shout out because he bought a cap in
God.
the past. But
Is that allowed?
well, it's allowed now because he also wrote an iTunes review, which I'm going to read.
Awesome.
Oh my God.
It's a 5-star review,
Of course.
and it's titled "Larry is Never Wrong."
Oh, hey! This I gotta hear.
I like this guy.
Wow.
This is the best podcast on iTunes. The only flaw
Is the other guys.
Will you let him?
I
will you
will.
let
Okay,
him
okay.
read the review?
I will.
There's
The
no
only-
need. Wait. There's no need for you to go off on your little jokester thing. Okay, let James go.
Okay.
The only flaw, if there is one, is that they talk over Larry way too much. What a bunch of clowns. I love the hat and gonna get the shirt soon. The guys are the best and super smart about all genres that matter. I drive a truck, so I listen while working. It can be dangerous because I shouldn't be laughing this hard and operating a vehicle. Love this pod. Odd Todd in Louisville, Kentucky.
Awesome.
Todd
That's
Johnson.
awesome.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Todd.
Todd.
Larry,
Really appreciate it.
Yes.
is Todd Johnson you?
No, he's not. And I just want to take a moment to say, perhaps you guys should listen.
Wait, I'm talking. Oh, sorry. Am I talking over you right now? Sorry.
It's all it's all very funny. Do you remember the review? Somebody, see, look what you're doing. That's not what people want to listen to.
Will you let Larry speak?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
For what? Okay, you know what? It was funny a second ago, but it's not
it's
now. No.
You're right. It's no longer funny.
Well,
Thank you.
No.
Thank
so
you.
yeah.
And anyone who wants to buy Monster Party merch, the legendary cap, T-shirts, find us on eBay on our Monster Party store. Monster Party store, easy to remember.
And if you want to send an iTunes review and agree with Todd,
Agree or disagree?
No, I think they're going to agree. By all means, give us a review.
Yeah, please.
Okay, wait a minute.
please.
Something just finally settled in my head. Larry's always right? How is that possible?
Mercury in retrograde.
Right. No, it's got to be. That's like Book of Revelations, end of the world shit.
No, I think maybe if perhaps you should listen to our shows and you find out that, maybe you didn't need to cut me off or go, yeah, see?
Well, let's remind our listeners you can find us on Facebook and YouTube at Monster Party TV. Our Twitter handle at Monster Party HQ. Instagram is also Monster Party HQ. And if you're listening to us on iTunes, write an iTunes review. Chances are we will read it on the air, and it'll be great fun.
No. Look, and look. Listen, I just want to say, look, everyone's laughing, and I get it, but it's like, look,
I don't think you do.
No. Listen, I think if you have a review, if you have something to say, you want to, hey, here's a little criticism or something, let us know. I mean, we're always open.
I think you completely blew past the wonderful timing that James had just now. It was a delight. It's a delight to work with you, James GONIS.
Well, I also want to give a special thanks to a new sponsor, someone who has actually donated product to us. Ooh. I want to give a special thanks.
These shout-outs will never end.
No. But, I mean, for listeners, this is actually kind of cool.
This is cool.
To Bogart Spirits. That's right. Bogart Spirits that make fantastic... there's a vodka, a gin, an Irish whiskey, and a rum. But this booze is actually proudly produced in association with the Humphrey Bogart estate. And you can't... I mean, on the bottle it has a beautiful picture.
Iconic picture
of Humphrey Bogart holding his cocktail, and you too can drink this and feel like Humphrey Bogart.
It's a good. All the boozes are good, and it's a beautiful bottle.
It is.
Yeah, it's
It will class up your bar.
So this is booze that you can Bogart.
Hey, that's great.
Wait a minute, what?
Well, anyway, special thanks to Bogart Spirits. This is great stuff. I'm enjoying it thoroughly. Thank you. Thank you. I also want to give a shout out to our friends at Creature Features. Hey, Creature Features. Now, Creature Features, they don't have a store, but they're still around. They're still selling stuff on their website. Go check out creaturefeatures.com. You could also check them out on eBay at C-Features. They're still selling models and toys and magazines and CDs. And if you check their website, it's going to give you information for their upcoming signings or books sellings, and so check them out, creaturefeatures.com.
Yeah.
I also want to give a special shout out to Time Tunnel Toys. Hey! Time Tunnel Toys, located at 1583 Meridian Avenue in San Jose, California. And Joe and Sharon, they have an amazing store that's filled with all kinds of vintage toys like G.I. Joes and records. And
weren't they instrumental in getting our particular guest for this episode?
Yes, actually they were. I want to give a special thanks to Joe and Sharon because Lisa Loring appeared at one of their San Jose Super Toy Comic and Collectible shows. And I was able to meet Lisa, and I reached out to Joe and said, Joe, can you help me reach out to her? And of course, he did, and we were able to get Lisa on the show.
That's awesome.
Many thanks to Joe and Sharon. Go to TimeTunnelToys.com. It'll give you all the information about their upcoming antique toy shows.
Cool.
We make dreams come true. On that note, I am creepy Matt Weinhold.
I'm kooky Shawn Sheridan.
I'm mysterious Larry Strothe.
And I'm spooky James GONIS.
Keep America strong!
Watch The Addams Family with Lisa Loring.
It's not like I'm not like we're making fun of you because you're Greek.
Sometimes I mispronounce things, and that's always the excuse.
Oh, it's got some.
I'm Irish, Italian, Mexican, and German.
Wow.
Hey.
My grandparents all were born in the countries of their heritage. I guess that makes me second generation or something. 3 of them came through Ellis Island, and 1 of them came in a cattle car from Torreon, Mexico, the last city that Pancho Villa took.
Oh, wow.
And my grandmother, who helped my mother raise me, was a, her father was a wealthy merchant. And they had to go on a cattle car or he would have killed them.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
That's nuts.
Okay.
Mexican Revolution.
All right. Save it for the Pancho Villa episode.
That'll be for the Pancho Villa episode. Okay. You ready?
All right.
You want to hear my John Cassavetes story?
Yes, I do.
Yes, I do.
Very much so.
John Cassavetes once helped me put out a fire.
What?
Really?
Yes, true story. I was at Tavern on the Green in 1983. I was 18 years old. And my dad was in the Zorba musical with Anthony Quinn. He was a musician.
And the fire was in your loins.
The big opening night party was at Tavern on the Green in Central Park in New York, and there were a lot of stars there that night, including Eddie Albert, who came with Ava Gabor. Yeah, wow. I was like, wow, how cool is that? They're hanging out together. A lot of big names were there that night, and I'm there. I'm awkward. I'm 18. I'm pimply, and I'm sitting there alone.
You're kind of Pugsley-ish.
I was still in Pugsley mode.
Really?
And I'm sitting there, and I see that the table next to me, the candle. It was late in the evening, and the candle had come so low that the flame had set the tablecloth on fire. Mm-hmm. And everything I had heard about putting out a fire is like you're supposed to smother it. So I take a napkin and I try to smother the flame, but for some reason it makes the flame worse. And John Cassavetes...
Was it a paper napkin?
It might have been.
Soaked in gasoline?
Yeah.
So John Cassavetes and Jenna Rollins are walking out, and on their way out, they pass by he sees that the tablecloth is on fire, and he takes a glass of ice water that also happens to be on the table, and he just pours it on the flame. And of course, it puts it out, and I'm thinking, I guess I could have done that.
Did he say anything to you?
No, he didn't have to. It was just the perfect moment.
Let me put out the fire on your table, youngster. I'm John Cassavetes.
But
that's kind of cool, though.
Yeah, and it also ties in the whole Eddie Albert that we were talking about before.
Yeah, totally.
Ava Gabor, rather. But one thing I will say that after revealing that whole Pugsley thing tonight is that I feel like somehow vindicated. Like those kids in Corona in the neighborhood when I was a little kid who were making fun of me. It's like, in your face, bitches. Because we actually had Wednesday here at our table.
That's right. Because I know they're all listening to this podcast right now, and they are feeling.
They're all probably bitter and angry now. Damn that James Gonis.
We're the #1 podcast for school bullies. They all tune in
Corona,
looking for new victims.
It doesn't even matter.
On that note, I am Matt Weinhold.
No.
Oh no, I'm mysterious.
No.
What is it? What was it?
You're creepy.
Creepy.
Kooky.
I'm creepy Matt Weinhold.
Yes, you are.
Kooky,
yes,
right?
you are.
Perfect.
Okay.
I'm mysterious.
Ooh, listen to him. He's mysterious.
Are you talking to the mic? Are you okay? Okay.
Yeah,
go. Okay, good.
Doodle-doo.
On that note, I am creepy Matt Weinhold.
I'm kooky Shawn Sheridan.
I'm mysterious Larry Stroth.
And I'm spooky James Gonis.
Wait a minute. I thought we were going to say keep America strong.
It's down there somewhere. Yeah.
It's funny because the three of us did it, but there's an email that was sent out to you.
Everything must be going to spam.
No, you're right.
That's right, though, right?
Keep America strong.
That's the way it should work, right?
Yeah. Okay, let's try that again.
Hey, I bow to the will of the.
Yes. Oh yeah. Okay, here we go. Let's try it again.
When do we do the dinner?
Okay, hang on. Okay, after we do the thing, then
Hang on, Sheridan.
Keep America strong. Then you say, watch
creepy.
No, you say watch the Addams Family with Lisa Loring.
Right.
Do-do-do-do.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then he's gonna go.
Okay. Okay, we got it. All right.
All right. Lisa Loring as a kid could do this better.
Well, that's for sure.
Right.
Okay, here we go. Wait, frog in my throat.
Spider in your throat.
I'm coffee.
Oh God,
Larry Stroth.
That vodka's
Phlegmic
awesome.
Shawn Sheridan.
How's that phlegmy thing? Hey, how's the liver doing?
It's doing good.
Yeah. And I just want to point out for listeners, Shawn doesn't have a new liver.
He does.
No, it's the same old liver.
It's the same liver without an abscess on it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Because I said something about a new liver.
That abscess then grew into a new liver.
Yes. No,
And so we had to shoot the old liver.
Right. Okay.
No, it's just his same liver.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
kind of cleaned up a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
On that note, I am creepy Matt Weinhold.
I am kooky Shawn Sheridan.
I'm mysterious Larry Stroth.
And I'm spooky James Gonis.
Keep America strong.
Watch The Addams Family with Lisa Loring.
I thought we could have been better.
Really?
On that. Yeah. Do. Yeah. We weren't. We
Yeah,
were,
I was a little off, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, we can try it again. I like that, but okay.
Okay.
Fuck.
Try it again.
Well, there has to be like a beat. You know,
It's like that Trogs outtake. You know what I'm talking about.
Wait,
right?
there were outtakes with Trog?
No.
Not
You know what I'm
Joe
talking about.
Crawford?
You know what I'm talking
Trogs,
about.
the band?
The band, the Trogs.
Yeah.
You've heard that, right? The
Oh.
outtakes.
No.
They did a
band.
bit on it on SNL, but it was like it's them rehearsing or trying to record something, and they're
Right.
having problems with the drummer.
Right.
No, it's dubba 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 chuck, dubba 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 chuck, and then he keeps getting it wrong, and then you hear the guy just go, "No!"
That's great.
Yeah.
So it's like he says, watch
Strong versus the Addams Family
Family
with
with Lisa Loring. Da-da-da-da.
How about this? Why don't we just do the da-da-da part? And because you can edit that.
Would that be helpful to you?
No.
You want to do the whole thing? Okay.
Let's just try the whole thing.
Yeah, let's do it.
I thought the first one
Build
was
it
fine.
phonetically.
I
Okay.
thought the first one was fine. but
Okay.
All right. Go.
Is that how you do your reality television? That's fine.
Yeah.
No one's gonna no one's gonna watch this a year from now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it runs forever. He
Yeah.
knows what he's doing.
Right. Okay, let's go.
Da-da-da-da.
Oh,
Okay.
God. Wait a minute. There's a dog outside. It's a harbinger of evil. Do not do this ending piece. Only evil will come of it.
Banshee whale.
Okay.
On that note, I am creepy Matt Weinhold.
I'm kooky Shawn Sheridan.
I'm mysterious Larry Strothe.
And I'm spooky James Gonis.
Keep America strong.
Watch The Addams Family with Lisa Loring.
That's good. That's good.
It was better. Hey.
What the fuck?
I said it was better.
Better?
Yeah, better. It was great.
Wow. One fucking good review. Next thing you know.
That was great.
That's good.
Okay. Is that you?
Yeah.
It is. It's Sean.
God, are you trying to gaslight me or something? Just any little ticking thing to drive me mad.
You know, I didn't like Jason Lindsay saying that I was doing that to you all the time, gaslighting you. I thought that was...
It's a
that
joke.
was out of,
He's
he was
joking.
joking? I thought it was
course he is.
serious.
No, none of us are really all that serious. Even when we say serious things, we're not that serious.
Sure.
Who could be as serious about the things we say as we are?
Right.
You know?
Bless you.
You okay? Yeah. All right. For once, Shawn Sheridan's the healthiest guy here. Let's keep it that way.
That's funny. Okay. Hey, guys, so I heard you went to G Fest.
Yes, we did, Larry.
You went to G Fest, and, I mean, you went without Sean or
Yeah.
myself. And,
Yeah.
you know,
No, it was weird too because like we were waiting at the airport.
Really?
And I swear,
Yeah.
I swear we didn't send you to New Jersey.
But but you guys went to G Fest and you mingled with the fans and
Yeah.
people were
Yeah.
flipping
We have
out.
great
and,
fans.
And,
We
they were saying to you, "Hey, where's Larry and Sean?"
I was at G String Fest. That was a different festival.
that's just your life. That's just who you are.
I mean, I went to G Fest when it was in Hollywood. This was like a number of
Yeah, they
years
used
ago.
to have them here.
yeah, I went too.
But now they've specialized in just hanging out in Chicago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's central in Chicago, so they stay there now.
There are a lot of Godzilla fans out there.
Oh yeah,
Huge.
and a lot of Monster Party fans.
Yeah.
and we
That's cool.
interviewed quite a few of them.
Oh,
And so we have that audio.
I would love to hear it.
Well, let's hear it now. Wait, now. Classic comedy. So we're at G Fest continually, and I am Matt Weinhold,
And I'm James Gonis.
and we are here with one of our favorite fans. Please say hello to the audience.
Hello, this is Angela McNICHOLS.
Woo!
Angela, you live here in Chicago, right?
I do, right in the city. So,
And I think you're one of our longest time listeners.
yes, Dana Gold.
Dana Gould, my good friend, my friend and mentor.
Yeah, I used to be on his show a lot. So, and the Damn Dirty Geek. So it all kind of geared and switched us over to Monster Party.
Yeah, well, that's for the best, really, isn't it?
Well, everything is sort of, all paths lead to Monster Party, really.
That's right. So, you live here in Chicago, and you're a police officer, right?
I am, yes. I'm a police officer. Been on the job for 13 and a half years, so I'm on the TAC, and then I also am a licensed clinical psychologist. So.
Fantastic, because I need both of that. I need protection and mental health.
Well, there you go. I'm the total package, I guess.
Yeah. James, do you have anything you want to ask her? Anything you want to get off your chest since we're here?
Let me think. Well, what the hell is wrong with us? Can you answer that based on... You've listened enough, right?
Yeah, we did the monster therapy. We need a second opinion.
Yeah. No. I'm more concerned for Larry. God bless him.
We are all concerned for Larry, yeah.
And I say that with love.
As we do. We really want him to be a happier man. Yeah.
Yeah. He's great spirited, and I think the looseness of you and the tightness of him really adds to the humor. Oh, God.
Yeah. The most unlikely comedy team.
Yes, but it works so well.
So now, at the convention, now you're here with your boyfriend?
Yes.
Boyfriend, Rob, is it?
You got it, Rob, yes.
Rob, and Rob, are you a big Godzilla fan too? Horror fan?
I've become more of a horror fan the longer I'm with her. So.
Since dating, yes.
Yes, absolutely. I didn't pay much attention to it growing up. I love The Exorcist. That was like my movie.
Oh, no, of course.
But yeah, she's gotten me more deeper into it, I guess we could say.
And that's great because it's nice to have someone who is that bad, good influence.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. He usually walks in the bedroom or the living room and sees what I'm watching, and he's like, okay, another B movie. I'm out of here. He's always like, I don't know what the hell you're watching.
Now, have you eased him into, because there's a lot of movies that when you see them on the screen, you go, oh my God, that looks terrible. But then you start watching it and you go, oh, wait a minute, this is really good. They just didn't have a lot of money.
Oh, yeah. For me, there's tons. I don't know, for him, it might be a little bit different. But, God, I would...
What are some of your favorite, maybe not as mainstream movies?
Oh, God. See, that's hard because my go-to ones are always Last House on the Left, Texas Chainsaw, and...
Those are great. Those are classics.
And Exorcist. So, I mean, those three are always my top three favorites.
And you just told us that you made a purchase of a doll that you are going to actually put in your bedroom, correct?
That's correct.
And what is this doll?
It's assigned by Linda Blair. It's the Reagan doll. It's a life-size.
Oh, my goodness. You know, if there's any way to create passion in the bedroom, it's got to be a Reagan doll.
Oh, I agree. That way he can come up and snuggle with me when he gets scared.
Yeah. So. And you also have Pazuzu.
I do. It keeps him straight as well.
Well, you're at G Fest. Yeah. Are you kind of a big Godzilla fan or medium, or how would you describe yourself?
I would say more of a medium. It's more of a childhood because I always watched Planet of the Apes, and then they would have Godzilla movies on afterwards on the weekend. So that's really where my love was. I love King Kong. That was...
Of course. Yeah.
So, but I will say this, the Shin Godzilla, absolutely loved it.
Wow, that's great, because we have a fan here, Adam Holtz, who's been hanging with us, and we always get into it with him because we all love it, and he has problems with it, and I don't get it, because that movie, the first time I saw it, I loved it, I was intrigued, and I've maybe watched it to show it to people, maybe 10 times or more since then, and I love it even more each time. There's little elements, little lines and moments that I missed the first time that are so great, and it works as a piece of satire, it works as a piece of social commentary. I just love that movie.
Yeah, no, I agree. I love how the focus is more, on the people too, and that's real interesting just to see what they're doing, what they're strategizing, and the income, the outcome of it. So.
I thought it was the first Godzilla movie to make the human reaction to Godzilla almost more interesting than Godzilla himself.
It's the first hyper-realistic Godzilla movie. It's like, well, what if this really happened? What would it look like? And that's really it, Yeah.
And once again, I really loved the first time the tadpole thing comes up on the shore and just kind of flops around. And you think about, if that really happened, like, that's bad enough. It's just a giant tadpole thing just wallows into some buildings. And that's oh my God, that's one of the biggest catastrophes ever that city ever have. Then the thing mutates, gets up and starts walking, and then obliterating everything. Yeah, poor Tokyo.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry.
No. There's pillows here of that crawling thing. It was very popular. They're all over the place. Yeah, there's like cuddly pillows.
Hopefully not those weird Japanese sex pillows.
Well, what you do with it is your own.
Look, yeah, right. We don't judge. However you want to live your life is fine with us. Maybe fine. Okay. Anyway, so Angela, you're here. You're here with your guy. You guys brought some money?
A little bit.
Okay. Is there anything that you've seen here in this dealer's room that you're thinking about? Maybe I need to pull the trigger on that.
Actually, there was, and it's not Godzilla related.
Of course not.
It's Phantom of the Opera. Oh. It's a wall hanging. It's amazing. It's all hand painted. It's over there.
I think I've seen that.
Yeah. And it's not $250 as the sign says. That is when it's not painted. Painted, it's about $500.
So, are you thinking about maybe buying the unpainted one and giving it a try yourself?
Something like that, I think I'd rather have somebody do professionally. Yeah.
You know what I want that's non-Godzilla related is on that side too, and it may be the same booth where they have all the bus.
Yes.
The Blackula one is the greatest thing ever.
Exactly what I said to him. It's in the same booth.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
The likeness is perfect. No. And then with the steak, like he removed it from himself.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So good.
Blackula was my other favorite one that I
Maybe you guys could pool your resources. I don't know. Every home needs a Blackula. Yeah. Now is Rob on the police force too?
Yes.
He looks like he's a solid public defender.
It may look that way, but the truth is so much different.
Cop was a little bit of a cream puff. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, a lot of it, I think so. Don't let this fool you. It doesn't fool much people on the street either, so it's all right.
And did you guys meet at the same, or do you work in the same department? Oh, okay, wow. Bringing people together. That's what I love. That's what I love about law enforcement. Brings people together. Yeah. Now, I've been asking this question because I'm fascinated by this because I love cosplay. Mm-hmm. And I love the fact that they're doing the big costume contest, the adult version. They did the kids version yesterday. So they're doing the adult costume contest. Do you ever cosplay? I've seen a few of your things.
Yeah, I've been known to dress up a couple times and get ridiculed for it strongly by my friends.
And coworkers? Or do they ever see it?
No. The coworkers don't see it.
Okay.
My friends outside of the job.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been Lara Croft.
Nice.
That was a big one. I've done Batman and Batgirl. And
I've seen that, yeah.
I was Darth Maul one time. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, I was very proud of that makeup work, and I don't have any pictures of it. I know.
If you had unlimited resources to do the ultimate cosplay creation, what would that be?
That is tough. And
it could be anything.
Lara Croft was one that I had always wanted to do for like the C2E2. Wow. I would like to do the Reagan now. I think that would be a lot of fun.
That would be great. Mm-hmm. If there's be a way that you could simulate the head spinning around in some way.
I don't think I'd have to simulate that. I could probably do that over here.
We're going to have to get some drinks in you.
Oh, yeah, I could use that. I'll never turn down a drink.
Good company, right, James?
Absolutely. Now, Angela, you were one of the first people that we sent a Monster Party T-shirt back in the day because we heard from you, and we're like, wow, let's send her a T-shirt. And you've actually sort of customized your T-shirt. Oh. You've got some tears in there. Yeah. Unless those were snags from
No. Yeah, I've kind of done that along the way with some of my shirts. It just adds appeal to it.
I love it.
Thanks. No, you guys have been great to me from the start, so I always appreciated it.
Our pleasure. And any new things that come down the pike here, we'll send you a care package.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I was eyeing that. Are you guys getting that in a small, by the way?
We are working on more sizes and lady sizes, and eventually we'll let you know.
Okay. Yeah. You know, it's so sad. I think it took us. When did you guys open up that store, your Monster Party store?
I think it's been over a year, but we were only selling caps for the longest time, and then we started selling shirts at Monsterpalooza, so we opened that up.
I thought that's about how long. It's taken me a year to find it. That's how sad. I have no idea.
It's one of those things too with the T-shirts is that when you to sell T-shirts, it's hard to figure out how many sizes you need, and we're not overflowing with money.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So trying to figure out like how many to buy of this size and that size, and so we're a little bit better now that we got the ball rolling. We're able to, take what we make and then put it just back into the T-shirts, so we always have a stock. So we're going to be better at that as we go along. But yeah, we'll get you the new style, and we have the Godzilla one. You got to have that one. Yeah, you got to have that one.
Yeah, no, I'm always happy to support you guys. So
thank you so much.
Good to us and as
Oh,
fans,
our pleasure.
So it definitely something I enjoy listening to.
And we got to get Rob a T-shirt.
I like that WKRP T-shirt. To be honest. That's more my speed right there. I want to know if that's for sale.
All right, Rob, take a hike.
Anywhere.
Hey, you know what? I like W. It's funny. I've been watching. I forget which channel it is. I think it's like Me TV or one of those. And they've been playing Barney Miller. Oh my God! I forgot how fucking funny Barney Miller is.
Surprisingly, yes. It
Yeah.
holds up.
Yeah,
Holds up. Yeah, a lot
like
of that.
really clever. But yeah, I'll give this WKRP thing a chance that you've mentioned.
Yeah. Come on. It's a classic. Herb Tarlick, in the suits. Come on.
Yes, it is. You're right. No, I can't argue with good taste.
No, you cannot.
Well, Angela, Rob, thank you so much for taking some time and chatting with us. And now it's time to just enjoy the con. And are you going to be here into the night a little bit?
Probably not too much longer.
Okay. Because that's usually when our drinking starts.
Oh. Yeah, okay. You don't want to start it now?
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah. But when you get to LA, when you guys come out to LA, if you can go out to LA, we'll set you up. We'll show you a good time. We got the new house now. We got the studio. We'll take you over there. We got the 16-millimeter movies in the yard. My wife is a delight, as you've heard. She's the greatest. So yeah, we'll make this a party. A monster party!
Monster party!
Hey, monster party! So there you have it. Another delightful G-Fest moment. Until next time, always remember what James Gonis says.
You know,
Oh, that's
Always good.
it's just as irritating now as it was 5 minutes ago.